Hello everyone, this is Soumya. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about principles of CBT in detail. Let's understand this with example. Let's say there is a 25-year-old boy who is feeling quite depressed, worried and anxious from the last few months. Now, first of all, we will make a treatment plan and then conduct therapy sessions. The basic principle of CBT are used here. So principle number 1 is to identify client's problems. In this case, we will identify the boy's current thinking that contribute to his feeling of worry and sadness. Remember one thing, that we are focusing on current thinking, not the past one. So let's say the guy is feeling, I am a failure, I can't do anything, I don't have a job, I'll never be happy, etc. Now we will also identify his problematic behaviors. Now let's say he has isolated himself, he spends most of the time in his room and doesn't do anything productive. He doesn't even ask for help. This example is a very basic example. You know, when somebody is in depression, he or she does things like that I just mentioned in this boy's case. These are very basic symptoms of depression. So current thinking and problematic behavior are to be identified and recognized clearly. Next, we need to identify the precipitating factors that influence this person's perceptions at the onset of his depression and anxiety. So here, let's say the precipitating factor is struggling to get a job, which contributed to his behavior, which contributed to his belief that he is incompetent. Now, in each session, we will refine the client's conceptualization. Throughout the therapy, we will make the client learn to identify the thoughts associated with his depression and to evaluate and formulate more adaptive responses in his thinking. Now, it's not that we will give him lectures that not getting a job doesn't make you incompetent. He won't believe us in that way. We have to make him question himself if his belief is really true. This will help him improve his feelings and leads to his behavior in a more functional way. Now, principle number 2 is that CBT requires a strong therapeutic alliance and emphasizes active participation. In order to make the client trust us and work with us, we need to show him warmth, empathy, care, unconditional positive regard and competence. In this case, we show a regard for the client by making empathic statements, listening to him carefully and accurately. We need to point out his small or large successes and maintain realistically optimistic outlook. Also, we should always ask the client for feedback at the end of each session. Encourage the client to view therapy as teamwork. The therapist and the client together decide what to work on each session, how often they should meet, and what the client can do for homework. Encourage the client to become increasingly active in the therapy session. Now, principle number 3 is that CBT is goal-oriented and problem-focused. In the very first session, ask the client to enumerate his problems and set specific goals. For example, here the guy feels he is incompetent and nobody would like to spend time with him. So he doesn't talk to his friends anymore and feels isolated. Now we will help the client to evaluate the validity of his negative thoughts. Once he recognizes the distortion in his thinking and then correct it, the client will be able to benefit from straightforward problem solving to decrease his isolation and feeling of incompetence. We will encourage him to hang out with friends. Okay, so now principle number 4 is CBT emphasizes the present. The therapy starts with an examination of here and now problems. That is the current situation, not the past one. There are only 2 circumstances where our attention shifts to the past. Number 1, when the client strongly prefers to do so. And number 2, when there is a need to understand the childhood roots of the client's beliefs, which is the cause of dysfunctional thinking of the client. For example, here, the boy when he was a child believed that if he achieves something, it means that he is worthwhile. And if he doesn't, then he is a failure. Currently, he believes that not getting a job makes him incompetent. Now, as a therapist, we will help him to evaluate the validity of his belief. It will lead the client to develop more functional beliefs. Now again remember, We will not give him advice or lectures. We are only supposed to make him question himself if the thought going through his mind was really true. We will make him evaluate his thoughts. Okay, so principle number 5 is that CBT is educative. It aims to teach the client to be his own therapist. That means to teach him how to set goals, identify and evaluate thoughts and beliefs, and plan behavioral change. Principle number 6 is that CBT aims to be time limited and the therapy sessions are structured. Now, depending on the diagnosis, therapist decides how many sessions are required. Therapist's goals are to provide relief in symptoms, to facilitate remission of the disorder, to help client resolve his problems, and to teach him skills to avoid relapse. In this example, the client can have weekly therapy sessions. Remember, in the case of severe depression or the client had been suicidal, we need to arrange more frequent sessions. After 1 or 2 months, we can collaboratively decide to have bi-weekly sessions, then monthly. Also remember that it depends on the client how fast he is going to get relief in his symptoms. In some cases, when the client has severe mental illness, the client requires 1 or 2 years of therapy or even longer. The therapy session need to be structured so that the therapy sessions become more effective. The structure includes an introductory part in which the therapist checks the client's mood, reviews the week, and then with the client collaboratively sets an agenda for the session. Middle part includes reviewing homework, discussing problems on the agenda, setting new homework and summarizing. And the final part involves eliciting feedback. This structure makes the process of therapy more understandable to the client, and it educates the client to do self-therapy after termination. Now, principle number 7 is that CBT teaches client to identify, evaluate and respond to his dysfunctional thoughts and beliefs. The client can have hundreds of automatic thoughts a day that affect his behavior. The therapist helps the client identify key cognitions and adopt more realistic and adaptive perspectives. In an example case, the boy will have so many automatic thoughts throughout the day, some of which he will report and others we have to elicit by asking him what is going through your mind. This question, what is going through your mind, is very important when he feels upset or acts in a dysfunctional manner. We need to uncover important automatic thoughts and then we help the client to investigate their validity. Then we ask the client to summarize his new viewpoints and we record them in writing so that he could read these adaptive responses throughout the week to prepare for these automatic thoughts. Now, last but not the least, principle number 8 is that CBT uses a variety of techniques to change thinking, mood and behavior. Cognitive strategies such as Socratic questioning and guided discovery are central to CBT. Guided discovery is based on asking a series of questions that allows information to be brought into the client's awareness. As I said before, we need to make the client question himself if his thoughts are valid or not. To achieve this, we will use this strategy called guided discovery. In this way, the client is encouraged to discover things for himself. The therapist guides the client to find his own answers. If a therapist will tell answers to the client, like in a lecture, then it will not be beneficial for the client. Most of the time, client won't believe the answers of the therapist. But when the client himself answers his questions that makes more sense to him, he will remember his answers and believe them. So it's better for the client to work it out himself with the help of the therapist. So these basic principles apply to all patients. However, the therapy vary according to individual client, his symptoms, nature of his problem, his intellectual level and his cultural background. The emphasis in treatment also depends on the patient's particular disorder. The strategy most often includes straightforward problem solving, evaluating client's negative thinking associated with the problem or behavior change. So that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. The next part of this CBT series will be the last part, in which we will learn how to identify automatic thoughts and core beliefs of the client which contribute to his dysfunctional behavior. Now please don't forget to like, share and comment, And if you have not subscribed yet, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.